That's right.
Hey, I saw a super chat from FOMO here. Thank you for the super chat. I think the big plus for Auro 3D is upmixing everything that's 5.1 or bad Atmos, which is most content. Not enough good native Atmos mixes, sadly. So here's the thing. I think a lot of people, including myself, didn't realize, like, to me, it was like, well, there's no Auro 3D stuff, so who cares if it's good? That's not the case. To me, Atmos content, when you change it to Auro 3D, sounds better. When I play 5.1 and I put on Auro 3D, it sounds better. And even I tried it even with like mono stuff. So I tried my own video. So when I'm recording on my mic, it's mono. And even that sounded natural. Nothing about it sounded like, oh, they're just trying to make it play on all the speakers unnecessarily. You know how that is?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just like, oh, it doesn't need to be over there. Now you sound all weird and phasey. No, nothing like that. So native 5.1, I think FOMO, you got it. 5.1, any old school movies, when you use Auro upmixing, it sounds better. It sounds better. I mean, it really sounds good, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So I would say people should try it out.
I think the one thing that I like probably the most about Auro 3D, probably, and it's been a while since I've gone back and forth between the two, but when listening to music, I actually really like the Auro 3D upmixer. Listening to music, something about that. I mean, we always like the 2-channel, but when you add everything and you're like literally immersed in kind of like a concert, that's a pretty cool feeling for sure. So,
and the other thing is, I don't know that you're getting the full effect because you're using ceiling speakers, right?
Yeah, and that may be the difference too, because I listened to the Tractor Scene honestly, and I was like, "What is this? The Tractor."
Oh, you're just like, what is it? It didn't sound like anything.
Like, all right, a tractor's going by. That yeehaw, and I wasn't impressed.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. So to me, what sounded impressive on that one was that the distance, like how far it felt from you. So it's not like, oh, it just passed to my left. Like, wow. It was more like, I think I read an article and somebody described it as like, it sounded like your window was open and the tractor came by. So I think it was more about the realism, how real it sounded. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think you can get the same effect with having ceiling speakers, and that's the issue. I made another video where I talked about how on wall would work with both, with all of them. It'll work with Dolby Atmos. It'll work with DTS:X, and it'll work with Auro 3D. So might be something to consider.
So in my room, it'd be I would have to do it still on ceiling because I can't put it on the front cabinet. I mean, there's no physical way to do that.
Oh yeah,
it would still have to be on my ceiling, almost like the JTR big 12-inch.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Coaxial ones.
Yeah, even behind your screen, if you put one up there, like up on top, is there?
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
No.
Yeah. So I have two questions about this. One is, what's your base price? Like, what's your introductory price to get Auro with an AVR? And then the other one is, you're talking about the configuration, being speakers in front of you. Is that it? The ones in front of you, or do you need all around?
Ideally, you want 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Yeah.
And then Auro 3D adds a center one right up top.
Okay.
The voice of lowercase g God.
Yeah, I got you.
X4700H is the minimum, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Ballpark price, like 800?
I think 1500.
1500.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
1500.
I haven't looked at receivers since I bought mine, and that's been at least 6 years.
Honestly, that's no joke, man. This Auro, I thought was just gonna, Channa's been talking about it for a while. I'm like, why is he even talking about this? It's so irrelevant. I thought it was just so irrelevant because it's all about Dolby Atmos. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I hear about, it's just Atmos.
Yeah.
That's not my experience. My experience now is just yeah.
And see, I've really enjoyed Atmos. So I have a different perspective on it, but my system's set up for Atmos. So
a lot of times though is we talk about movies with good Atmos and some that don't have good Atmos, right?
No, it 100%. Every Atmos demo or every Atmos content is not considered equal.
Whereas with this, it's almost like everything that you throw at it, you're kind of wowed by, I think. You know, like everything I put on there, I'm like, whoa, that sounds cool. Like, yeah.
Huh.
And
But
it
is it
doesn't sound
gimmicky?
like that cheese. How's that?
Is it gimmicky?
No,
You know,
no. So that's
that's
the
good.
thing. It doesn't sound like the
Stuff like
Hall
that.
effect. Hall
Yes,
effect,
stuff like that
jazz.
always just strikes me.
Yeah,
It
those are
reminds me of
crazy.
like 3D.
No.
You know, 3D. I never got into that because 3D always just felt gimmicky to me.
Yeah.
You know, go to the theater, you do it at home. Either way, it always just didn't seem right.
No,
It was
I don't like
here's
that.
just this thing that you guys can pay more money for, and
You know, so here's the thing about me is like there's YouTubers out there, right? And they're more on the positive side. Michael, I would say you're more on the positive side. Whereas me, I'm like kind of either neutral or maybe I tend towards like being a little bit of, you know what I mean? Like, so if I say something's good, it's a little bit different than, you know, when somebody else is kind of saying it. I think, you know what I mean? There might be a little bit more weight to when I say it because it's really like, dang, all right. And I think other people here in the comments that have had the same experience, they're also saying like, yeah, that's what my experience too. So it just, you know what, it's just interesting to me because Dolby is just, they're the leader here in the US.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Yeah, they're definitely cranking out the content.
And even TV. I'm like looking at network TV and it says Dolby right there on the, you know, on network television, right?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
you can't get away from it. And it almost makes it seem like, of course they must be the best because they won here. And, you know, that's what they're the standard. Whereas from my experience doing up mixing, the other one just sounds better. So especially you have to have the speakers configured in the right way.
Yeah, you won't be able to get it. If you have them configured in ceiling, you won't even get the Oro 3D option. You'll get an Oro 2D option, which enables the bottom bed layer, but it doesn't do anything with your top layer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You heard that, what he was saying though, Erin, when you were gone, is he was, Wilfried was saying that once you get past a certain vertical height, your perception of where things are really low. Like on the horizontal axis, he's like, we're excellent here.
Right.
But past a certain degree, and his claim is 30 degrees.
Yeah.
30 degrees, and then there's some cohesiveness between what you hear above and what you're hearing on the horizontal axis. But once you get beyond that, you start you can't tell where it's at. And so his argument was that Dolby Atmos has the speakers a little too angled up too high, where you can't really tell where things are.
Interesting.
Very well.
So his ideal location would be within 30 degrees.
Yeah, you have to be careful doing the 30 degrees with your hands, by the way. On my video, I'm like, yeah, it's 30 degrees. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good.
I got you. 30
degrees.
You don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
You can't do the Heil Hitler thing, right?
No.
What you're talking about? Yeah, you don't want to do that.
You just got a point. 30 degrees.
As soon as I did it, I was like, oh, he set me up for that. I think.
So yeah. Anyway, to me that makes a lot of sense. You know, so I'm into stuff that makes.
Yeah, no, and I like that because you don't have to cut ceiling or holes in your ceiling.
Yeah,
and you could try it, and if it don't work, you know, you can run wires just on the carpet on the floor. Yeah. You don't have to run anything to the walls just to test it out.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure you have enough speakers over there to try it out. I saw another.